Follow here.
Further afield now, and the chairperson of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee is calling for a re-evaluation of relations with Uganda. This follows comments made on the social media platform X by Uganda's army commander and President Yoweri Museveni's 51-year-old son, General
You don't have to mention 51-year-old. They're trying to tell you something here.
Muhoozi, who accused American embassy officials in Kampala of helping stage the kidnapping of opposition leader Bobi Wine.
With Senator Jim Risch, who chairs the Instrumental Foreign Relations Committee, proposing sanctions and calling for re-evaluation of relations, including military cooperation.
And I'm sure Ugandans have formed an opinion on his tweets.
Ugandans have formed an opinion on his tweets. They're nonsensical. They're stupid. They are goofy. They are reckless. Andrew Mwenda, bootlicking Muhoozi Kainerugaba. And then you have Chris Baryomunsi, bootlicking Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Now we go to Daudi Kabanda. Now, with the introduction of Daudi Kabanda in this conversation, it brings us to what you could define as a tale of three brown noses. And yes, indeed, presenting to you from these United States of America, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might watch this conversation. My name is Mordecai Morisa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Morisa Live. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the house of our enemies has caught on fire. Now, I don't really mean enemies. To them, I am an enemy. I would prefer to address them as my political opponents. But to them, I am an enemy that needs to be crushed, that needs to be annihilated, eviscerated, dismantled, name it. And what's this house? The house of Muhoozi Kainerugaba and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the commander of the Uganda of our defense forces, and the commander-in-chief, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and Muhoozi Kainerugaba. So, how it all began, I'll show you. Let me tell you the story. Please stick around, okay? It started with Muhoozi Kainerugaba writing this. Remember, Museveni rigged the 2026 presidential election, announced himself as, president. But since the announcement of his victory, there's not been a celebration. Remember, he awarded himself 71%. You would expect that if you win by that margin, that's a landslide, you would see people in the streets of Uganda celebrating. But no. People are being abducted, many tortured, others disappeared. There's no NRM people celebrating in the streets, and you'll be wondering, where are these people who voted for Museveni? And as a result of this guilt they have, that this is stolen victory, you know what happened? Bobi Wine fled his home after they launched an operation to arrest him. Now, they do not know where Bobi Wine is. Muhoozi Kainerugaba went on his X platform where he usually posts his really senseless diatribes. He wrote this: fellow Ugandans, because of the present situation where an opposition leader kidnapped himself and is missing, and according to our best intelligence, did all this in coordination with the current administration at the U.S. Embassy in our country. We as UPDF suspend all cooperation with the current administration at the U.S. Embassy in Kampala. This includes our work in Somalia. Okay, that's what he said. Now, he was beginning to fly too close to the sun. He says, okay, we don't want USA anymore. Okay, and then he says, the very precious security cooperation between Uganda and the United States has been undermined for a decade now, since 2015, by unimaginative bureaucrats at the embassy. This in spite of the excellent political relations between the two countries. After posting that, it just took a few hours. Then he came back and said, oops, I am sorry. Let me show you here. He apologized. He went on to I posted this. Oh, no. No. I want you to read here. 32 minutes, 54 minutes after, then he posted this. Oh, no. I want to apologize to our great friends. Remember, he had announced that these people have undermined the cooperation between USA and Uganda for the last 10 years, since 2015. Now, in a panic mode, he comes out and says, I want to apologize to our great. Oh, let me if he could, probably. He says, I want to apologize to our great friends, the United States, for my earlier tweets that I have now deleted. I was being fed with wrong information. I've spoken with the U.S. ambassador to our country, and everything is okay. We are going to continue our military cooperation as usual. But they've been undermining the cooperation since 2015. But you're going to, okay? This is what they say when you post things without really thinking through. Okay, when he posted that, USA wasn't buying, the comedy of Muhoozi Kainerugaba. So what ensued was the U.S. Foreign Relations Committee. This is what they wrote here. I will show you. They came and said, Commander Muhoozi Kainerugaba has crossed a red line, and now the U.S. must reevaluate its security partnership, which includes sanctions and military cooperation with Uganda. The president's son and likely successor cannot just delete tweets and issue hollow apologies. Chef's kiss to that. Absolutely. It was hollow. Okay, then it says, the U.S. will not tolerate this level of instability and recklessness when American personnel, U.S. interests, and innocent lives in the region are at stake. Now Muhoozi knew he had made a mistake of flying too close to the sun. Now, what does he do? He goes on to send his bootlicker, for lack of a better word. He sends his sycophant number 001, Andrew Mwenda, and he writes this. The constant threats of sanctioning against our CDF, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, by the office of the chairman of our Foreign Relations Committee of the Senate of the United States have become increasingly nauseating. They seem driven by a deliberate and sustained desire to find some fault and get even with General Muhoozi. I wonder how, even with Muhoozi, over what? Okay, the CDF tweeted, based on available intelligence, that the U.S. Embassy in Kampala was involved with the opposition helping Bobi Wine escape. Escape from what? Why is Bobi Wine escaping from what? That's why they say the apology was hollow. Okay. When corrected, and after talking to the USA ambassador, he deleted the tweets and apologized for the mistake. Okay. Yet the office of the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee of the U.S. Senate, whose account is managed by a 1JT, apparently an anti-Uganda and anti-MK staffer to the senator, then issued fresh tweets threatening sanctions. Imagine, projection is unbelievable. Muhoozi, it has been alleged that he manages the account of, Mwenda manages the account of Muhoozi. Sometimes he's the one tweeting. So now he says, okay, there's someone who manages this account. I know that person. He hates Uganda. He goes on to say, first, the CDF does not mind USA sanctions. Oh, why is he apologizing? Why is he saying, I deleted? He doesn't mind. It doesn't sound like your claim is actually a thing here. USA has sanctioned Nelson Mandela. Okay, he goes to the usual, stuff. I'm going to show you USA. I'm going to show you how USA has been making mistakes in sanctioning so and so. Goes on to mention Martin Luther King Jr., Patrice Lumumba, overthrown Kwame Nkrumah, and much worse. Okay, progressive Africa does not expect any gifts from Washington. What is nauseating is this constant use of threats, as if we're children supposed to be managed by some white overlord, as was in the colonial period. He's trying to find ways of saying, painting this as some sort of America versus Uganda. Absolutely not. We are in for the sanctions. It is not threats. We want Uganda to be sanctioned. Okay. Uganda's internal politics need to be left to Ugandans, where your folks you grovel to abduct, torture, kill innocent people. Through our constant disagreements, political struggles, negotiations, and compromises, we shall find our way. The involvement, blah, 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 but he goes on there. So you realize that Muhoozi didn't have anyone to come, for his defense. So he sends Andrew Mwenda. And this was after Muhoozi had become a laughingstock. I think it was Citizen TV Kenya that named him Goof in Chief with this story. Watch here. Follow here.
Further afield now, and the chairperson of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee is calling for a re-evaluation of relations with Uganda. This follows comments made on the social media platform X by Uganda's army commander and President Yoweri Museveni's 51-year-old son, General
You don't have to mention 51-year-old. They're trying to tell you something here.
Muhoozi, who accused American embassy officials in Kampala of helping stage the kidnapping of opposition leader Bobi Wine, threatening to freeze military cooperation. Ayub Abdikadir has that intrigue.
Look at him. Look at him.
His unrestrained social media postings and conduct, inability to exercise control, has yet again landed him in trouble. This time for stirring political waters beyond Uganda, prompting immediate response from an influential committee of the American Senate. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's conduct bringing relations between Washington and Kampala into sharp focus, with Senator Jim Risch, who chairs the Instrumental Foreign Relations Committee, proposing sanctions and calling for re-evaluation of relations, including military cooperation. The senator rejecting an apology by the Ugandan general, who he labeled a likely successor to his father, and calling the apology inconsequential. The Ugandan chief of the defense forces questioned the relevance of the relations between the two countries, citing...
Read this here, Uganda's goof in chief.
decade-long frustrations by bureaucrats at the U.S. Embassy in Kampala, who he added are pushing the union between the two states to a cliff edge. Muhoozi alleging that the U.S. Embassy in Uganda, according to intelligence, helped stage the kidnapping of opposition leader Bobi Wine, and calling for the suspension of military relations. However, the general's lack of decorum online is not a new trait.
Lack of decorum.
Following the rejection of the January 15th presidential result by the opposition.
You're looking at the face of a Napo baby. A man born with a spoon in his mouth. That one.
Muhoozi, an ever-present figure on social media where he taunts his opponents, boasted about the number of opposition supporters killed in the aftermath of the elections, labeling them political terrorists intent on destabilizing Uganda. In 2022, the general said it will take him only 2 weeks to capture Kenya, leading to an uproar on X, prompting an apology from his father, President Yoweri Museveni, who downplayed his son's comments.
Well, now you get the gist here. Now, after this story went viral, had the attention of so many countries, especially when Senator Jim Risch posted that on the committee's page on X platform. Of course, we had to hear somebody from Uganda at least saying something. Who is going to answer for Muhoozi's recklessness and hollow apologies? That was none other than the Minister of Information and ICT, Chris Baryomunsi. Listen.
Regarding the CDF, the CDF does not speak for the government of Uganda.
But it's the CDF, the Command of the Defense Forces, doesn't speak for the government of Uganda. But it's the CDF. Who does he speak for?
But he likes Twitter communication. And he writes tweets. At times I do not read them. Any short he deletes.
At times I do not read them. He's reducing tweets to something that he doesn't even pay attention to.
Them And I'm sure Ugandans have formed an opinion on his tweets.
Ugandans have formed an opinion on his tweets. They're nonsensical. They're stupid. They're goofy. They're reckless. Absolutely, but they're dangerous. That's what he's trying to say. But he's not going to say it. He's going to be speak with decorum and, as a minister.
I don't think, other than purposes of politicking, I don't think they take them as the official position from the government of Uganda. Like when he said, I am going to hang Dr. Besigye by June 6th. Did he hang him?
Oh, you're waiting for him to hang him? When he posted he had abducted the bodyguard of Bobi Wine, Mutwe, he meant it. He actually posted pictures of Mutwe naked and gloated about abducting him and torturing him. What are even talking about Chris Baryomunsi?
He hung him. Did Ugandans believe that actually Besigye was alive before hanging?
More or less. Yes, more or less.
No. So I think...
No, you look at his face. It is a face of contempt and really demeaning Muhoozi and Rugaba, looking at his tweets as stupid.
Many right-thinking Ugandans, save for the politics and what, they just know he likes tweeting.
He spends most of the time on his X platform.
At times he tweets and he deletes and so forth. And I have been, for the record, saying those, as a government spokesperson, I treat them as casual comments he makes on social media through.
It's being really, really kind.
Twitter. I have discussed this issue with the appointing authority, with the president. Admittedly, his tweets make my work a little bit difficult.
Okay. Then he says, admittedly, his tweets make my work a little bit difficult. So if they really make your work a little bit difficult, we're not going to take them just as simple politicking tweets. When you say, I can capture Kenya in 2 weeks, we're not going to look on and be like, okay, is Muhoozi being Muhoozi? That could spark a diplomatic crisis that could end up leading to a loss of lives. Don't joke, Chris Baryomunsi. But anyways, here's the thing. Now, after that, the house is on fire. But you have to realize what's going on here. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, these are two courts of bootlicking. You have Andrew Mwenda bootlicking Muhoozi Kainerugaba. And then you have Chris Baryomunsi bootlicking Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Now we go to Daudi Kabanda. Now, with the introduction of Daudi Kabanda in this conversation, it brings us to what you could define as a tale of three brown noses. What does he say? Ugandans need to know that Rwaboogo has of recent been making several trips to the US, meeting undisclosed members of Congress and US government. This pattern confirms the current attacks from some members of the Senate on the Ugandan government. We are also aware that it's being supported in his trickery by Otafide. Now, Rwaboogo, who married Muhoozi's Museveni's son-in-law, married his daughter, is planning the toppling of the Museveni regime. They're looking for somebody to blame, okay? Because had it not been Muhoozi's reckless treating, were we going to see this tweet from Kabanda? Why is he choosing this time to tell us about the trickery of Rwaboogo? They're looking for somebody to blame. The thing that's going to bring the Museveni regime crumbling down is going to surprise many of us. Many of us who are utterly and openly opposed to the regime want to see it end. But it might actually end from within. But I don't want you to fall into the trap. Despite this might be true, I do not want to have any piece of Museveni when he leaves power. The Rwaboogo, because now they might want you to fall into the trap of choosing sides. Oh, I am Team Rwaboogo, I am Team Muhoozi. It's just different faces of the same coin. So you have this man, David Kabanda. And David Kabanda's level of psychophancy is extremely funny. I don't know whether you guys have paid attention. Kabanda speaks fluent Luganda, just like me. But when he is hosted on radio and TVs, he wants to fit in the Museveni and Muhoozi circles, that he will twist his accent to sound like a Munyankore, the tribe of Museveni and Muhoozi. Look, I'm a Munyankore myself, but there's no way I'm going to be like, this is how Kabanda usually speaks when he's hosted on NBS. I think with Toro DU. He wants to fit in the Museveni circle so much that he even wants to change the accent so that he sounds like those people from Western Uganda who have not been influenced by these accents in Central Uganda. You know, I told you, if us of the PRU, we're going to win the authority. That's how he speaks it. Sometimes I look at him, I'm like, shut up, clown. Gentlemen, don't even do it. It's so boring. It exposes you as a charlatan. Don't do it. But he badly wants to be seen as a part of the Muhoozi, a cohort of, or a member of the family. So bad that he even embarrasses himself to that point. What you see from Muhoozi, from Mwenda, Rwaboogo, and Kabanda, it is really, really shameful. It is embarrassing. It is a rest to be seen kneeling. Like they're kneeling down at a bullet speed and they want Muhoozi and Museveni to see them. How low? If you go low, how low can you go? That's the question we've always asked. Really, if you choose to go low, how low can you go, Kabanda? How low are you going to go? How low, Andrew Mwenda? All in service of these two folks. Psychophancy is extremely expensive when the king has a son. I'm telling you. Because some have to be psychophants to Museveni. But they don't want these psychophants to be 100% sure. Because if Museveni leaves, they want Muhoozi to replace him. So they'll be like, oh, I don't want to be seen as an enemy. So that's why you see Mwenda or Kabanda won't really call out, because when they say that Rwaboogo is planning against the fall of the Museveni regime, does that mean that Museveni knows about this and he won't call them out? So instead of saying that, because if Rwaboogo is planning to topple the Museveni regime, that means that, he's targeting to end the dreams of Muhoozi Kainerugaba becoming president, then Museveni is okay with that. So they're trying to play it cool, not to appear like there are two extreme on either sides. But we like it, folks. The house has caught on fire, and I'm here for it. I am 100% here for it. Did I want to show you anything? Let me check here. Am I forgetting anything? No, I think I showed you everything I had to. Yeah, so that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. It is psychophants in ways you can't imagine. The true definition of different masters, but same knee pads. Why would you embarrass yourself to this level? All for proximity to power, for money and wealth. Go for it. But there is something that goes beyond money, that's more expensive, more important, more valuable than money and influence or proximity to power or power itself. And those are things found here. My name is Mordecai Morisa. I hope you have a wonderful time. Bye-bye for now. See ya.